Our next guest is Tom Callahan. I had the pleasure of catching up with him here at MUSEXPO 2013. Tom, thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate it. For a serious artist looking to have a career in music, at what point do they need an artist manager?
Well, that's a good question. Serious artists would need management. It really depends, I think, on how proactive the band is. You know, some bands really do it themselves. They're very proactive. They're social media crazies, and they're doing everything. They're going after branding. They're going after the Facebook and YouTube. They're shooting their own videos. They're very proactive, and they don't need a manager until they're really ready to shop a deal, and they need an attorney. They need to build more of a pro team. But if they're that proactive, they don't necessarily have to shop a deal because they'll be discovered by the labels themselves. Other bands that really don't have either the business acumen, or they don't have they don't really have that inside of them to go out and be proactive, yet they're great musicians or what have you, and they're writing great songs, of course, and they're playing out. They may need a little more help to help build their profile, their awareness, and at that point, I think a manager would not only help them to guide the career. I think it would help more with the connections, with their relationships with the other industry people. Put the teams together that can actually help them. The experts in the various fields, whether it's social media, whether it's publicity, whether it's A&R in a record, for example. But so I think the answer to that is, I think a band would need a manager at different times. It's an individual thing. I think you have to understand who the band is and where they are and what kind of people they are, and they have to understand who they are, actually, more importantly.
Tom, besides the music, what are the personal qualities that you look for in any client that you're willing to take on?
Another good question. Well, first of all, I've been doing this so long that I just don't work with anybody I don't like anymore. But I think if you talk to most managers or consultants, I think they'll probably say the same thing. Because you get very personal with the artist. I mean, you're with them a lot, you're talking to them constantly, you have to share the same values, you have to share the same vision. And if you aren't in the same wavelength personally, whether it's either literally politically or value-wise or morally, then it's very difficult to do business with them, just because you don't share the same thought processes. And I think your personality actually leads to the way you do your business. And if you don't share the personality values and morals and sense of humor, I think it's going to be difficult to do business with the people, because when you're managing someone or consulting for someone, you're constantly talking back and forth, hanging out, and you're going to like the people, and they're going to like you, obviously. Otherwise, it's just too difficult. It's just too difficult, in my opinion.
Tom, so much has been made of the social media aspect with regards to artists' careers. So much time, energy, focus, commitment is spent on this area. Do you think that it's affecting an artist's ability to create by spending so much time there?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think it's affected the creativity a lot. Several reasons, I think. First of all, the person that's writing a lot, well, if it's a band situation, the person that's writing a lot of the material, typically, I found, aren't the ones that are doing the social media for the band. It's usually like the person that's kind of not the writer necessarily. It's the person that is that guy that's the real tech guy in the band, and they usually do it, or the person that really enjoys it. Sometimes it's the artist, the singer, or the songwriter as well, of course, but I think that it actually inspires the artist because they're interacting directly with the fan, and that will inspire them to continue writing, continue performing. I really don't see any negativity with any negative residual from interacting with the fan. I mean, building Facebook, Tumblr, what have you, YouTube. I think it's part of the process of staying inspired and being interested in your own band, whether it's the person writing the songs or it's the tech-savvy person in the band. What I don't think is good is when the manager does it, necessarily. I think they can contribute. And I see a lot of bands where the bands really aren't very active in it for whatever reason, and then the manager or someone starts doing it. I think that takes away from the business of doing the band in a lot of ways, and that's because it is very time consuming. And I think for managers to be doing that is just not the right way, because you can't get inside the artist's head necessarily as a manager to express the artist's views. And when you're doing social media, the artist is supposed to be expressing their heartfelt views so the fan can have a better, intimate relationship with that artist. And when the manager or someone else typically does it, which I see a lot, it doesn't feel right. And I think the fans understand that this doesn't feel right, that they want to deal with the band. And I think it's just a new way of doing business. And most bands I talk to love doing it. And it really does help them in staying inspired, as I say, and having a much more intimate relationship with the fan, which is what it's all about.
For artists seeking management, can you talk about the qualities that are really important to look for in an artist manager?
I think it goes back to the one of the questions you asked earlier about when does an artist need a manager. I think a beginning band that has no relationships, doesn't know anything, they're going to ask questions like, who does this person know? Can I trust them? Are they, the trust is actually tantamount, paramount in everything. Trust is it. But a close second, I think, is can the manager move me to the next level? And that really is a factor of experience. Does the manager, has he been around a while, she been around a while, have relationships, does he understand, building the career, what needs to happen? So these are, then of course the artist has to ask, who have you worked with, what have you done? I mean, so with the internet you can find out very easily who these people are. A young band might want their friend to start with them, even if the friend's an intern at a record label, because it's a great breeding ground. There's a lot of smart kids out there now, really smart. And at the beginning level, a lot of it has to do with the social media.